As someone who has lived most of her life in a relatively small city, the first questions I'm liable to make when faced with the concept of democracy, before turning to an interesting study case where expectations of resistance are somehow corresponded, where oppression is expressively confronted, where people are organized as the social inequality they experience requires them to be. These questions are, why does the action doesn't happen? Or, if there's one, what's the acceptable size of the political and what are its borders made of for us to address what have enough complexity to be on the scene? In our landscape investigation process, what firstly came to light was the large public vague areas around the river that cuts through the city, a river that has had its relevance ensured since the beginning of her history, as a barrier to be overcome in one moment, as a possibility of connection in another. In cultural terms, a traditional event takes place every year between a nearby town and an area of the old port that we now call leisure area. The tour is organized by two NGOs, each located in one of the cities, with the aim of valuing the river in nature, drawing attention to the importance of its preservation. The middle bridge, the river, the surrounding land, the old port. The leisure area we mentioned before, located here, is now the part of a non-construction urban park that will be dedicated to restaurants. This recent public investment intends to attract tourists and enhance the ceramic trade for which the city is nationally known, at the same time increasing the risk of gentrification processes in these areas, threatening any social and environmental value they may now nurture, as the amount of family farming practices that were identified there. It's not unusual to find small cultivated gardens from which they are caretakers in their livelihood. Since the river has not undergone an extreme intervention and the marginal lands are not intensively occupied, it provides water and soil for those who want to make of agriculture their source of income or to improve their already existent one. On the other hand, it's not usual to find collective actions, as vegetable gardens formally managed by the community. What's not the same to say there is no sense of a community at all. Neighbors completely unrelated to the gardens help willingly their owners here and there watering plants, inspecting the property, fixing a tool, driving downtown to buy materials, etc. We talked to 3 local farmers. All of them have their main source of income in the gardens. When asked about the issues they've been facing the day-to-day of work, all pointed to the cost of maintaining production, which has greatly increased, unlike their gains. Besides selling vegetables to customers who are used to go to his garden, one of the intervieweds, for instance, heads every Sunday to the closest supermarket, carrying his wheelbarrow full of grain to stand in the entrance gate, offering fresh food to those that pass by. Even by doing this, however, it is still hard to make enough money. Increasing sales and/or reducing expenses is a general wish, but currently, they don't know how or have no means of doing so. There are producers that find an alternative in renting a car or using their own to drive around the neighborhoods announcing their goods repeatedly in the loudspeaker so residents can listen to it and buy directly from their house's doorstep if interested. Also, on Sundays, there is a fair in downtown public space where local power allows people to commercialize their small productions. Most local poor family farmers, though, have no material conditions to attempt either way. They can't drive, they don't own a car, can't buy one, can't afford to maintain one, either to drive it around, either to simply take their greens to the downtown fair. In this sense, our aim is to implement along the riverbanks collection points where farmers can take their production to be gathered by a collectively managed boat that will make the transportation of the food to be sold and consumed in more distant areas, in a first moment, to the leisure area itself. Through this proposition, besides valuing the river as a local natural heritage, the public marginal lands where gardens are located can assert their social and environmental relevance among citizens, extending the already existing affective relationship that people nurture with the river to the surrounding environment. It can even make it harder in the long term for land speculation to step in, brought perhaps by the park itself, guaranteeing the farmers the land to make their agriculture and their livelihood. Our main concern was to suggest an alternative to the problem posed by them that was proper to the specificity of their place. In this sense, the river, where our questioning began, also ended up offering some potential answers.